Thank you for joining in for our Ramayana study session today. Om Jnanatimindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees and pranams, thank you for joining in and welcoming you all for the Ramayana study session. We're almost on the last 2 weeks of Ramayana, post which we plan to start study of Chaitanya Charitamrita with the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. So this is almost the last stages of the war. We are studying Yuddha Kanda, wherein now Ravana has woken up Kumbhakarna. And Kumbhakarna is now fighting with Hanumanji, with Lakshman, with Lord Ram. Right? He's ready because, and he also told Ravana that it is not right on his part, and it did not get proper advice. But then Ravana is finally saying, Kumbhakarna, all what is done is done. Now we need to take action. So he requested Kumbhakarna to go and fight, which Kumbhakarna is doing right now. Right. Let's see what is happening in the battlefield where Kumbhakarna is stepping into the war. Now being fighting against Lord Ram, Lakshmana and Hanumanji. So that's where we are. So let's continue reading from the book Ramayana by His Grace Krishna Dharmadas Prabhu. Okay, 5 huge monkey chiefs and attacked Kumbhakarna from all sides. They struck him with crags, trees, the palms of their hands and their feet. They climbed up his legs and tore at him with their nails and teeth. Then hundreds of other monkeys rushed at the Rakshasa and leapt upon him. Kumbhakarna plucked the monkeys from his body and thrust them into his huge open mouth. Monkeys were seen to issue out of his nostrils, and his ears as a demon repeatedly thrust them into his mouth. Kumbhakarna looked like a death incarnate, appearing for the destruction of all living beings. One by one, the powerful monkey leaders assailed him and were repulsed. Sugriva took up a great mountain top and boldly challenged the Rakshasa. See now my prowess, O Rakshasa. Leave aside the other monkeys and face me. With this mountain peak, I shall dash you to the ground. The Rakshasa laughed. I know you, monkey. You are a grandson of Brahma and the son of the mighty Raksharaja. Thus, you stand here roaring. Show me then the limits of your strength. Sugriva immediately hurled the vast crag upon the demon's chest. It smashed to pieces and fell to the earth, but the Rakshasa was hardly moved. In a rage, he threw his flaming pike at Sugriva, but Hanuman intercepted it as he flew. The monkey placed the pike across his knees and broke it into two, making the Vanara troops roar with joy. Kumbhakarna became maddened. He stormed across to the Malaya mountain and tore from it a massive peak. Spinning around, the Rakshasa hurled it at Sugriva. The monkey king was caught by the whirling crag and he fell unconscious. The Rakshasa shouted in triumph, thinking Sugriva to be slain. Kumbhakarna quickly ran over and took up the fallen monkey. Pressing him under his arm, the demon made his way back to the city. If Sugriva were killed or captured, then the entire monkey army will be finished. As the Rakshasa stepped over the city wall, he was greeted by cheering citizens. They showered flowers and scented water on him. Sugriva felt the cool water on his face and he regained consciousness. He saw himself being carried towards Ravana's palace. Bending his body violently, Sugriva spun around and ripped off the demon's ear with his nails. He then bit off the end of his nose and clawed his side. Kumbhakarna roared in pain and threw the monkey down. Sugriva bounced up like a ball. He sprang onto a rooftop and quickly bounded over the city wall and back to the monkeys. Kumbhakarna stood with blood running down his face. He screamed in anger and turned back towards the battle, holding a terrible-looking mace. Rushing into the monkey forces, he continued annihilating them by the thousands. Lakshmana then appeared before the Rakshasa. He immediately shot 24 flaming arrows onto Kumbhakarna's arms. The prince continuously released arrows which covered Kumbhakarna on all sides like a golden cloud. Brushing aside the shafts, the Rakshasa laughed and spoke to Lakshman. You have shown me your prowess, O prince. I am impressed with your valor. Even Indra or Yamaraja would not dare to face me in an encounter. But I wish to fight only with Lord Ram. Where is your brother? By slaying him, I shall put an end to this conflict. My army will then finish the rest of the monkeys. All right, so this is very, very interesting. How Kumbhakarna, right? Right from Sugriva to Hanumanji to Lakshmana, they've all met Kumbhakarna, right? But what does Kumbhakarna want? Kumbhakarna simply wants to defeat Lord Ram, because if Lord Ram is defeated, then, or if Sugriva is defeated, then the entire monkey army is defeated, and if Lord Ram is defeated, then the battle ends there, right? Why to fight with so many people? Right. So when Ram heard the challenge, he called out, "Come on, stand ready for the battle. I am ready here." So in this way, Rama comes to the battlefield and fights with Kumbhakarna. So let's see what happens. If any devotee would like to read, you can raise your hands, and then we can read together. All right. So Rama heard the Rakshasas' haughty challenge. He called out, "Stand ready for battle," and shot from a distance a number of arrows that pierced the huge demon all over. Kumbhakarna at once rushed towards him, clutching his mighty mace. Rama sent volleys of arrows which shattered the Rakshasa's mace, even as he raised it for Rama's destruction. Shafts bedecked with golden feathers thudded into the demon's body by the thousands. Blood poured from his wounds like streams from a mountain. Kumbhakarna ran about in fury, crushing monkeys and demons alike. He seized hold of a tremendous rock and flung it at Rama. The prince released sharp pointed arrows, which smashed the crag as it flew towards him. The pieces of the rock killed 200 Rakshasas as the shards fell to earth. Okay, Srimati Shamapriya Mataji can read, and then Sindhu Mataji, and then Navkishori Mataji. All right. So let's continue reading. Thousands of monkeys there.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Thank you, pranams.
Thousands of monkeys rushed at Kumbhakarna and leapt upon him, trying to drag him down, but the Rakshas shook them off like so many insects. He dashed about, intoxicated with battle and slaying both friends and foe. Rama determined that the time to kill him had arrived. Firmly grasping his bow, he called out, "Take heart and fight, O Lord of Rakshasas. Know me to be the destroyer of the Rakshas race. You will now be slain by me." Kumbhakarna whirled around and faced Rama, but suddenly Vibhishana came between them with a mace in hand. Seeing him there, Kumbhakarna said, "Yes, my brother, come forward and strike at once. Abandon all filial affection and remain devoted to the duty of a warrior. O Vibhishana, you alone are the redeemer of our race. Among the Rakshasas, you are the best knower of virtue. Indeed, I will not slay you today, for you deserve protection at my hands. Stand aside, I cannot check my nature and am given to want only killing all creatures." Vishnu replied, "With the interest of my race in mind, I always tendered advice to Ravana, but neglected by him. I sought Rama's shelter. Hence, I stand before you in the battle today." Tears sprang to Vishnu's eyes as he spoke. Rama consoled him and told him to stand aside. The time for Kumbhakarna's destruction had come. Seeing Rama standing firmly before him, Kumbhakarna laughed hideously and said, "I am neither Virada or Kavanda, nor am I Kara or Dushana, Vali or Maricha. I am Kumbhakarna, arrived here as your death. Do not hold me in contempt. Show me the full limit of your power, as I shall then devour you, O Rama." Rama at once released arrows which flew with the speed of lightning and struck the Rakshas's body. Those arrows, which had formerly pierced seven sal trees and very earth itself, did not even shake the demon. The Rakshasa took up a massive club and whirled it about, knocking down Rama's arrows as they flew. Laughing again and again, Kumbhakarna stood with his head club uplifted. Rama released an arrow imbued with the force of Vayu. It roared through the air and severed the Rakshasa's arm. That arm, still clutching the club, fell to the earth and killed 1,000 monkeys and Rakshasas. Kumbhakarna shrieked with pain, making the sky vibrate and mountains break open. He looked like a mountain whose summit had been cut off with a gigantic sword. With his remaining arm, he tore up a large palmite tree and rushed towards Rama. With each step, the earth vibrated and trees toppled over in distant forces. Rama released another mystic missile, which cut off the Rakshasa's other arm. It fell with an enormous crash. It fell with an enormous crash, sending Rakshasas and monkeys scattering in all directions. With blood spurting from the stump of his arms, the Rakshasa continued to rush at Rama. He bellowed furiously, and the monkeys covered their ears, unable to tolerate the noise. Rama shot a pair of crescent-headed arrows imbued with the force of Indra's thunderbolt, and they severed the Rakshas's feet. Not deterred, Kumbhakarna still somehow moved swiftly towards the prince. His mouth was wide open, and he emitted savage, deafening cries which shook the earth. In an instant, Rama filled his mouth with arrows, and demon was silenced. Rama then took up an arrow which was encrusted with gems and which shone brilliantly. Empowering it with the force of the Brahmastra, he released it for Kumbhakarna's destruction. As it flew with a terrible speed, the arrow illuminated all directions like a blazing comet descending to earth. It tore off the Raksha's head, which looked like a peak of the Himalaya mountains. Adorned with a pair of blazing gold earrings, his head shone as it was carried through the air by the force of Brahma's weapon. It seemed like the rising moon moving through the heavens. It fell upon the defensive wall of Lanka and demolished the great northern gate. The head then rolled along the royal highway. By the power of Brahma's mystic missile, the Rakshas body was lifted and thrown into the ocean, creating a tidal wave which swept the coast of Lanka. The host of gods and rishis assembled in the sky and joyously praised Rama. The monkey surrounded him, roaring in exultation. All the remaining Rakshasas fled, astonished and dismayed. Rama felt elated and shone brilliantly amid the monkeys, even as the sun shines after an eclipse.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So now Kumbhakarna is also out. Now, directly when this news reaches Ravana, let's see what Ravana does next. What is his plan next? Okay, that's we start chapter number 9, Carnage among the Rakshasas. All right. So let's see how Ravana reacts to the death of Kumbhakarna. Sindhu Mataji would like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Yes, Mataji.
Jai Shri Ram. Hare Krishna Prabhupada ki Jai. The Rakshasas ran.
Yeah.
The Rakshasas ran quickly to Ravana and told him the news. After wreaking havoc among the monkeys for some time, your glorious brother has been slain by Rama. His limbless and headless trunk lies half submerged in the sea, and his head now blocks the city's main gate. Ravana was shocked and seized by grief. He fainted. All around him, his sons and other relatives sent up a wail of sorrow. They could not believe their ears. How could the invincible Kumbhakarna be killed by a mere human? Gradually, Ravana came around and began to lament. Alas, my brother, where have you gone? Without removing the thorn from my side, how have you left me alone? What use now is my kingdom or Sita or even life itself? I am deprived of my right arm, depending on which I had no fear from the assembled gods headed by Indra. Now those gods stand in the sky, raising shouts of joy. I cannot brook this turn of events. I shall follow the path trodden by my brother. Either I shall slay Rama or death may claim me too. Ravana wept and tossed about in agony. He remembered Vibhishana's advice. His virtuous brother had spoken wisely. He had been wrongly expelled from Lanka. Now Ravana was tasting the bitter fruit of that action. One who ignores the good advice of wise well-wishers always comes to grief. The Rakshasa king sank down in distress, seeing him fallen into abject sorrow. His son Devantaka, who was not very thoughtful, said, Why are you lamenting in this way, O king? Those endowed with power and valor do not give way to grief. The time has come for firm action and not lamentation. Only command me, and I shall go out and exterminate your enemies. Ravana's other sons were heartened by Devantaka's words. They also began boasting of their power. All of them clamored for the order to fight. They were all mighty in battle and had never experienced defeat. All of them knew the mystic missiles and all had received various boons from their practices of asceticism. Bragging loudly, they declared that they would all go out together and finish Rama and the monkeys in no time. Ravana was encouraged. Driven by his destiny, the demon stood up and embraced his sons, ordering them to march out for the battle. 4 of the Rakshasa sons, Trishira, Devantaka, Narantaka, and Atikaya, along with 2 of his half-brothers, Mahaparshva and Mahodara, were dispatched for the fight. Those gigantic warriors anointed themselves with medicinal herbs capable of warding off injuries as well as with perfumes and sandalwood paste. They put on golden armor and took up their fierce weapons. Mahodara mounted an elephant that resembled a dark cloud. Trishira mounted a fine chariot drawn by the best of horses and equipped with thousands of weapons. Atikaya, who stood with a flaming crown on his head, mounted another superb chariot. On either side of him stood Devantaka and Narantaka, clutching frightful maces, both of them appearing like Vishnu holding the Mandara mountain. Mahaparshva came behind them, mounted upon another elephant which resembled Airavata, the carrier of Indra. They came out of the western gate of Lanka like 6 brilliant planets suddenly appearing in the heavens. Followed by the massed ranks of the Rakshasa warriors, they raised their weapon and rushed joyfully towards the monkey army. The monkeys saw them advancing like a row of dark clouds. The earth shook and the sky resounded with their roars. Drums crashed and conches blew, filling the 4 quarters with a defeating clamor. The Vanara army thundered in response and took up crags and tree trunks. The 2 armies met with a clash, and terrible confused fight ensued. Demons and monkeys gave out leonine roars as they assailed one another with fury. The monkeys sprang high, dragging down the airborne Rakshasas and dashing them to the earth. They smashed the demons with rocks and pounded them with their fists and feet. The Rakshasas sent volley after volley of arrows at the monkeys. They whirled their spiked maces and swords viciously, hacking down the enemy troops. The monkeys picked up one Rakshasa to strike another, and the Rakshasas did the same with the monkeys. Arrows with crescent or horseshoe heads sped through the air and lobbed off arms, legs, and heads. Narantaka sent up a tremendous roar and began carving a path deep into the monkey army. He left a trail of flesh and blood strewn with mountain-like monkeys lying stretched on the ground. The demon sundered the ranks of his enemy, piercing them with a spear and killing dozens at a time. The monkeys howled in fear as Narantaka fought with a maniacal fury. None could face him. Seeing the awkward destruction being wrought by Narantaka, Angada came forward. He shouted to the demon, "Wait, why are you showing your strength against ordinary monkeys? Throw your spear which strikes like lightning at my breast." Narantaka spun round and glared at Angada. He hurled his great flaming spear at the monkey who stood firmly before him. The spear broke against Angada's chest and fell to the ground. Angada leapt forward and dealt a blow to the head of the Rakshasa's horse. The horse's feet sank deeply into the ground and its eyes popped out. Narantaka jumped off the back of a slain horse and roared in anger. He struck Angada a terrible blow on the side of his head. The monkey vomited hot blood and fell back dazed.
Okay.
Crowd.
All right. You want to read further?
Thank
or
you.
Okay. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Now, Kishori Mataji, please go ahead. So this is just a detail of the war. So we just have to quickly go through this. It's explained in great detail by Krishna Dharmadas Prabhu. So let's continue reading. This is a very interesting fight.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Yes,
go ahead.
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Crouching down and regaining his senses, Angada, who was thinking only of Rama, suddenly sprang forward. He swung his fist with all his might and hit the Rakshasas on the chest. Narantaka's breast was split asunder by the blow. He sank to the ground with his limbs soaked in blood and gave up his life. The monkey sent up a cry of joy. At the end, the gods beat their heavenly drums, observing Angada's incredible feat. Even Rama was struck with wonder. Angada stood infused with a vigor, ready to continue the battle. Seeing his brother killed, Devantaka cried loudly. With grief and fury, he gazed with a bloodshot eyes at Angada. Followed by Trishira and Mahodara, he rushed towards the son of Vali, releasing thousands of arrows. Angada immediately seized a huge tree and swept aside all the arrows. He then hurled the tree at Devantaka, but it was torn to pieces by the arrows of Trishira, standing close to behind him. Angada threw trees and rocks one after another. Mahodara whirled his club and shattered them as they flew towards him. Suddenly, the 3 powerful Rakshasas rushed simultaneously at Angada. Each of them struck him furiously with their clubs. Angada stood his ground, tolerating the blows. He leapt towards Mahodara, struck the Rakshas's elephant with his palm. The elephant fell to its knees and toppled over. Nangada then tore out a tusk from the dead elephant and struck Devantaka a terrific blow on the head. The demon reeled about vomiting blood. Hanuman and Hanuman saw Angada engaged with the three towering Rakshasas and he ran over to assist the prince. Nila also rushed to Angada's aid, hurrying a mountain peak at Trishira. But the Rakshasas smashed the massive crag with his arrows. Devantaka swung his club in a full circle and caught the running Hanuman on his breast. Not minding that blow, although it was forceful enough to have rent the earth, Hanuman swung his fist at the Rakshasa. He caught him on his head with a crack resembling a peal of thunder. The demon's teeth and eyes were forced out, and his skull was shattered. He fell like a tree cut at its roots. Hanuman roared loudly and sprang at Trishira. He clawed at the Rakshasa's massive steed, even as a lion would claw an elephant. Trishira took up a terrible javelin and hurled it straight at Hanuman. The monkey immediately caught it and snapped it in two. Trishira lifted his sword and thrust it at Hanuman, piercing him in the breast. Not shaken by the wound, Hanuman struck the Rakshasas a blow on the breast with his palm. Trishira fell unconscious and his sword slipped from his grasp. Hanuman snatched the sword and roared. The demon regained consciousness, awakened by Hanuman's roar. He could not tolerate the sound and leaped out furiously, striking the monkey with its fist. Hanuman mm, Hanuman seized the Rakshasas by his hair, which was covered by a diadem. Pulling the demon's head towards him, Hanuman severed it with the demon's own sword. Even as Hanuman was slaying Trishira, Nila killed Mahodara with a tremendous blow from a fully grown sal tree. The mountain, like a monkey Rishabha, then engaged in a fierce fight with Mahaparshava. The two combatant rendered each other unconscious again and again, finally, Rishabha pounded the Rakshasa to death with a demon's own mace. Seeing five of dead heroes killed in duels with the monkeys, the Rakshasas fled in all directions, resembling an ocean that has burst its shores. The demon Atinkya then came to the forefront of the battle and rallied the terrified Rakshasas. As the huge-bodied demon advanced, the monkeys ran away, howling. They thought that Kumbhakarna had somehow returned to life. Surrounding Rama, they cried for protection. Rama saw in the distance Atinkya, mm, who resembled a great mountain. Amazed at the sight, Rama turned to Vibhishana and asked, "Who encircled? Who Sorry.
Who is that monstrous Rakshasa?
Who is
Chariot?
that monstrous Rakshasa seated in the chariot, drawn by 1,000 horses, surrounded by flaming pikes? He seems like a dark cloud, encircled by lightning flashes. Indeed, with his golden bows on all sides of shining chariots, he is illuminating the battlefield like the newly risen sun. His blazing arrows going in all directions are like so many sunbeams. Tell me the name of this lion-like warrior. Vibhishana replied that this was Ravana's son, a powerful fighter who had performed much asceticism and he had thus acquired from Brahma different boons. The creator of the universe had made him invisible to gods and demons and had bestowed upon him many mystical weapons as well as the wonderful chariot he was now driving. With his arrows, the demons had even checked Indra's thunderbolts and cut down Varuna's noons. Vibhishana advised Rama to tackle him at once before he annihilated the entire army of monkeys. Rama watched at Atinkiya, Atinkya penetrated into the monkey's rank. At once, he was surrounded by Neela, Dvida, Mainda, Kumuda, and Sarabha, five great heroes. Among the monkeys, they assailed the Rakshasas from all sides, hurling huge rocks and trees at him. The demon easily repulsed all their missiles with his arrows, while were bedecked with bright red jewels. He speared all five of the monkeys and sent them running. The demon struck fear into the monkeys' armies as a furious lion would terrify a flock of deer. He looked around and saw Rama. Leaving aside the monkeys, the Rakshasas drove across to Rama and issued a proud challenge. I do not care to fight with common warrior. If you have the courage and the strength, then stand against me today. I shall soon end your power and your fame. Hearing this, Lakshmana was infuriated. He seized his bow and twanged the string, making a sound which reverberated all around the battlefield. Lakshmana gazed at Atinkya with bloodshot eyes, placing a long shaft of his bow.
Krishna. Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you so much. Anwar
Thank you.
Pradhan.
So we see here that one after another new demons Ravana is sending, and all of them are getting killed. But yet Ravana, although he is realizing that maybe Vibhishana was correct, oh, I should have heeded to the advice of Vibhishana. But what is it? He is not able to take that step to go and surrender because he is not having a good association. Right? Even Kumbhakarna gave him proper advice, and Kumbhakarna is killed. Vibhishana gave him proper advice. He did not listen to Vibhishana, and Vibhishana also has gone to the opposite army along with Lord Ram. Right? So in this way, we see that Ravana's end is nearing, but he is just wanting to prolong it by sending different people for the war like that. Okay. So let me read. Anyone else wants to read? Can raise your hands. The demon laughed derisively. How do you dare to challenge me, O son of Sumitra? You're only a boy, unskilled in warfare. I cannot be faced by the Himalaya mountain, nor even the earth itself. You seek to rouse the fire of universal destruction as it slumbers peacefully. Do not lose your life in this way. Depart swiftly. Or if you choose to stand here, then be prepared for my arrows, which will quaff your lifeblood, even as a lion would quaff the blood of a deer. Lakshman could not tolerate Atikaya's arrogant words. He thundered back at the Rakshasa. Mere speech does not prove your prowess. O demon, give up this empty boasting and demonstrate your strength at once. After you send at me the best of your arrows and missiles, I will strike your head off, even as the wind blows a ripe fruit from a tree. Whether I am old or young is of no matter. You should know me as your death. Arrived here today. The three worlds were taken by Vishnu, even while he was yet a child. Atikaya flared up in anger. He instantly fired an arrow, which flew with the speed of the wind, resembling a meteor and shooting tongues of fire. Lakshmana loosed his own arrow, which intercepted Atikaya's in mid-flight and split it into two. Atikaya grew even more enraged and fitted 5 more arrows to his bow, sending them at Lakshman in a moment. Again, Lakshman cut down his shafts as they sped towards him. Lakshman seized a sharpened arrow, which shone with splendor. Pulling his bow into a full circle, he released the shaft and it pierced the demon in the bow. Atikaya shook like a mountain in an earthquake. Profuse blood ran down his head like oxides exuding from a mountain. The Rakshasa praised Lakshman's fiat. He quickly sent 24 arrows at the prince, which seemed to light up the sky. But Lakshman struck all of them down. Okay, Shobha Mataji, go ahead. Seizing his opportunity as Lakshman parried the arrows from there.
Hare Krishna Dandat Pranam Mataji. Jai Shri Ram. Seizing his opportunity as Lakshman parried the arrows, Atikaya sent another fierce shaft which struck the prince on his breast. Lakshman did precisely, but pulled out the arrows and tossed it aside. He then charged an arrow with the force of Agniyastra, the powerful fire weapon. Seeing the arrows loosed from his destruction and blazing in the sky, Atrikaya responded with an arrow induced with the power of sun god. The two mystic missiles met in space like two blazing planets colliding in the heavens, reducing to ashes. They both fell to earth. Atikeya fired at Lakshman as weapon proceeded over by Yamaraja. But the prince counteracted it with a missile empowered with the force of the wind god. Lakshman quickly responded by covering the son of Ravana with countless arrows, so that neither the demon nor his chariot were visible. Sweeping away those arrows with a sword, the demon did not feel at all harassed. He shot a deadly arrow at Lakshman, which hit him in the chest and caused the prince to faint for some moments. Regaining consciousness, he shot razor-headed arrow which cut down the demon's standard. He killed the charioteer and several arrows of the Rakshasas' horses. But although he struck the demon's body with innumerable arrows, he could not hurt him in the least. As Lakshman stood confounded, the wind god Vayu approached him and said, "The demons are clad in an impenetrable armors bestowed upon him by Brahma himself. Indeed, the Rakshasas cannot be slain except with Brahma's weapon." Hearing the celestial voice, Lakshman took out a large golden arrow and fitted it to his bow. He recited the incarnations to invoke Brahma's missile. As he chanted the mantras, the sky seems to shake and the earth groaned. With that arrow on his fully stretched bow, Lakshman appeared like death incarnated. He released the arrow and it sped with a terrible cracking sound towards the demon. Atikeya saw the diamond-bedded arrow approach him, blazing like the biggest, and the demon was struck with fear. Moving with blinding speed, he hurled javelins, spears, spikes, mace, and axes at the arrow. He also struck with numerous arrows of his own, but the shaft could not reach it. It baffled the demon's weapon and continued to go swiftly through the air. The blazing arrow caught Atikeya in the neck, severing his head and throwing it some distance on the battlefield. When Ravana's son was slain, the remaining Rakshasas set up a wail, crying in discordant tones that ran about in fear, unable to find a protector. That turned their faces towards the city and hastily retreated. The monkeys surrounded Lakshman and praised him, shouting with joy. The prince smiled and returned to Rama's side. Rama embraced his brother and glorified his wondrous feet. Flowers fell from the sky and heavenly drums sounded. Should I continue, Mataji?
Haribol. So,
Haribol, thank you.
in this way, Atikaya, one more demon is also killed after Kumbhakarna and all of them. Atikaya is also killed. In this way, let's see what Ravana has in store next. Now Rama, Lakshmana, they are all gearing up in the last part of the war. Hanumanji, Sugriva, and all of them, they're all geared up to complete the war as soon as possible so that Sita can be restored to Lord Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram Patita Pavan Sita Ram Sita Ram Jaya 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 Sita Ram Jai Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Gurudev Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Shri Sita Ram Lakshmana Shatrughan Hanuman जी की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद रामायण की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees. So very soon we'll complete this in about a week or two, and we'll start Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tomorrow we'll meet at 4:30 a.m. as we continue with the Brahma Murta chanting session. And at 11 o'clock tomorrow, we will continue with the Yuddha Kand of Ramayana, wherein we will see who's the next demon sent by Ravana, or is Ravana personally coming to fight with Lord Ram and Lakshmana. So more tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakuti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Prem Nande. Hari Hari Bol. Today we'll sing Krishna Prema Mayi Radha. Radha.